to the Rebellious Creativity Podcast, where we talk about how to change the world one creative act at a time. I'm Lisa Kramer, your host, author, theater director, former educator, and believer in the power of collaborative creativity and building a creative economy for the good of the world. I'm excited to welcome my very first guest, Blake Gabrielle, author, podcaster, and founder of an indie author bookstore and all-around kick-ass creator. We met when I participated in a panel on Pages Against the Patriarchy live, a live author event, and just the conversations we had, something told me she would be the perfect first guest to help me start a creative revolution. So welcome. I'm happy to have you here.
I think it's because I'm so opinionated.
Well, it's opinionated, but it's also you're smartly opinionated. Like you asked the questions that I were like, I was like, ooh, that was a good question. So
thank you.
That was part of it. And I really want to build a community where we're really asking the hard questions and trying to find the solutions. So first, just tell me a little bit more about yourself, like your journey. What brought you here today?
My name is Blake Gabrielle. That is not my government name. You probably will never get my government name because I like a little bit of anonymity. I think that more people should go by a pseudonym personally.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody does what they want to do for them. I am a person that likes vulnerability, but I also am a person that likes privacy. But I am a very private person and not at the same time. So that's why I go by pseudonym, but I am an author. As you said, I have 3 books out right now. I have 2 books in my saga, which is the Olympic War saga, which I like to think of its own kind of creative rebellion in itself. And then I have my standalone book, which is Carry Me Home, which came from a way more personal place. I write books. I'm working on my 3rd book right now, which has been, I said my 2nd book was the hardest, but my 3rd book has definitely been the hardest to write in this series, just because I'm doing so much now. So I'm podcasting. I have a podcast, basically Unbothered, and I also do a podcast with Kathleen, who is also a fellow amazing writer. I read her book and I was like, I want to be like her when I grow up. And she's like just a fantastic person. And we do the Indie Inc. podcast together. And so that added another level on. And then I do own a little boutique indie author bookstore that is online. I always wanted a bookstore. Like I could have always seen myself as a bookstore owner. And it was originally, I had a candle and tea business and I was building what I call Pure Tifa Cafe, and I wanted to have books. And so originally I was looking into ways for me to get books, just like regular everyday books. And I was like, this is really boring because everybody sells this. Right?
The same books.
Yeah, the same. And like I could buy these same books, but like what really aligns with me. And I had already been, because I was an indie author and I was very aware of what it was like, I was already aligned in being an indie author. And so I decided that there isn't a place for indie authors to really get seen. That's their own. And I wanted to create that.
I love that. That's part of the reason that I wanted to talk to you, because I mean, first of all, you're achieving your dream much earlier than I did. I mean, I've been on different aspects of a dream, but like my most recent, I relaunched a book in March, and it's very different from the first time I did it, both independent, but just it shifted how it was being published. And just seeing how hard it is to get books out there and how competitive it is, and how, I mean, it's the competitive part that's really bugging me. And the fact that you don't you pick a couple of indie books a week and buy them and put them in your stock. And I think that's amazing. I love it, because I'm so tired of people saying, well, I want to feature your book, but you need to pay me for for the feature.
It's so frustrating to me, even in the indie community, because I hate that other indie authors, other indie creators do this. Like you know how difficult it is to get out there, and instead of using your platform to promote and push other people, they use their platform to exploit.
Exploit or attack. Those are the things
Yeah.
that I've noticed, and I'm that's not what I'm like. I'm like, you want me to read your book? I will read your, but
Yeah.
when I can, I'll ask for it at the library if that's something that's possible. I'll find ways to get it, and I also have seen the debates about whether authors should be reviewing other people's books. I'm like, but if reviews are the only thing that matter, then why shouldn't we be reviewing other people's books?
I've seen that recently. I saw it on Threads recently, and someone was like,
Yeah,
they got really mad because the indie author gave another indie author's book a bad review, and they're like, imagine, you doing this to someone. And I think that's why, as a community, we're so afraid
mm-hmm.
to read other indie authors' books and experience them. I think one of the fears is we're afraid that their book is going to be better than us. Let's
Yeah,
be real. This is a we're because it's so competitive, we're so afraid that we're not going to be good enough. And if another person's book might be better than ours, we're just going to be like, no, this is going to mess with my psyche. I'm not going to touch it. But
yeah,
the fear of like pissing off the indie author community because you were honest. I've had that same fear. I
yeah.
personally, me, don't
Mm-hmm.
review indie author books anymore.
Mm-hmm.
I've actually taken some of my reviews down because I have such a connection with the community that,
Mm-hmm.
like, if I have something, I'll probably just say it to them. But that's me personally, and I'm a recovering people pleaser, and I have my own, issues that I deal with. I think we're afraid to hurt people's feelings.
Yeah,
Will it hurt my feelings if I get a bad review from my peer? Absolutely. But as long as I think that their intentions were true,
yeah.
and they're not doing it to bash me or prevent me from, getting up in the community, they're allowed to have their opinions.
Right. I think I come from like just slightly different perspective, just because I've been an academic for a long time, and I was teaching writing, so like I naturally critique, but learned how to critique with positivity. And I mean, I'm not out to rip people's souls out, but I will give constructive criticism. And I
Mm-hmm.
think people don't know how to take constructive criticism. And constructive
Mm-mm.
criticism, or I will say something like, this isn't my type of book necessarily, but I can understand why people would like this, and this about it. And I think
Mm-hmm.
we need to be open to that, because that's how you learn to be a better writer, in my opinion, is to get the feedback. But
I think that the problem is that I appreciate anyone who said anything nice about me. I love that. I actually probably need that a little bit more in my life because, as you know, when you're an indie author, it's
mm,
a very quiet existence. It's a
yeah,
very lonely existence.
oh, absolutely.
And that is why I think like constructive criticism. So, for instance, the last Indie Ink podcast that Kathleen and I have recorded is
Hmm.
us reading each other's book. And I was literally like, I know that we work together and like we have this relationship and we're good, but I don't want you to hold back. And
And that's really hard. That's impressive that you're willing to do that, and that's really hard to do. That's hard to open
it's
that yourself up to that. I get it.
It's hard. I mean, I'm honest. I always tell people, give me 3 to 5 business days if you say something bad. I think that, again, if the criticism is constructive and it's not
Yeah,
meant to tear you down, then it's beneficial. I don't have a lot of reviews. Most of my reviews are positive, but that usually happens when you don't have a lot of reviews.
yeah.
Um, but someone posted about my book and they were like, there were grammar errors and the text felt jolted and I didn't even finish it. Maybe I'll get back to it. And it was just like, those are the things that frustrate me. And they were like, yeah, I'm not going to read this book now. And I was just,
I hate that. I mean, I'll put something away if it's really really bad, like you can tell that it's the first draft and they threw it up there, because
yeah,
you do get those books. But that's just, I'm going to choose now to embrace those reviews, because here's the thing: if our books are too perfect and do not have any mistakes, we're going to be accused of AI. So I'd rather
which
face
is,
them.
I mean, even that concept to me is like really fucking crazy. Like,
Oh, it's insane.
it's like you literally can't win. Right. If I've created this perfect work of art, you're going to say AI did it. If I use M dashes, you're going to say AI did
Yeah,
it.
I did it.
But if I have grammar errors because I'm an indie author, and for you guys who don't know, indie authors edit their own books 9 times out of 10, it's really pricey to get your
Hmm.
book edited. And we're just talking about like developmental edits. We're not even talking about someone fine tooth combing through your book to make sure. And for the record, I use like Grammarly, I use those
Yeah.
things to edit my
Yeah.
book, but they're not perfect
Oh,
either.
they make so many mistakes. It's awful sometimes. So
And
yeah.
but it's just because like there's a nuance thing, but also some of the big like really influential writers of our time, creative, non-creative, break away from grammar and structure
Yeah.
because it's limiting.
Yeah.
And writing is an art form, and art forms are never meant to follow this structure. So
Right.
if you're like evaluating an art form and you're like, why isn't it following this AMLA, structure? It's like that's not with the purpose. Maybe my period isn't where a period is supposed to be, but maybe it's because I want it to feel jolted in that instance. I like to think that my prose is a little poetic in itself.
Yeah.
Um, I'm neurodivergent, right? So
Hmm.
the way that you guys see things, grammar, writing, or whatever, I just don't
Yeah.
see it that way. Like before, I got so much hate for my writing for not using commas properly, and that's just because in my brain, everything is just like a constant stream.
Hmm.
And, especially when you're writing dialogue or like fiction is supposed to be that area where you can break it because you're supposed to be immersive and people immersively aren't grammatically correct. No one
Right.
no one speaks grammatically correctly. Um you actually can dive into books better sometimes when they sound the way that you think or the way that people
Right.
speak to you.
Absolutely.
And I get it. Some people are like grammar nerds or whatever. And like I love that for you. But that doesn't mean a book is a good or bad book. So that's like one of the biggest things that indie authors get like a lot of immediate
Hmm.
like flack for is the lack of grammar or whatever. I read traditional and I read indie author books, and let me tell you, there's grammar errors in all of them.
A few years ago, I don't remember whose book it was, but I read something from a very, very well known author who has so many books that they're probably at the cycle that someone else is doing the writing for them, kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And it was the most poorly edited piece of crap writing I had ever read. And so I did, like, that's the only time I've given in 1 star of a review, and it wasn't about the book, it was about the disrespect of putting garbage like that out there when you have editors, when you have a publishing company, when you have, you know and then you come attack indie authors who are at least trying. It's
That
ridiculous. I'm a little more critical if it's a nonfiction, or not a memoir, but like if it's,
yeah, like your historical text or you're recounting things that really
yeah,
happened, then it
then
becomes
I'll
a
be
little
like,
bit.
do your research and write it in a way that is proving that you are, an authority. It's crazy. If it makes you feel better, the one, the one of my worst reviews, which I thought was hilarious, was from someone, and it was for the first version of Power, which is the book that came out in March. And
Mhm.
she said, "Well, there are no cats in this book." And I couldn't read it because there were no cats in this book. So I had to look the person up. I had to. 1 star, mocking it because there were no cats. She had like 3 listings on whatever I was looking her up on, and they were all cat books. I'm like, why did you pick this book?
I
Please.
I am convinced that some people just want to be upset sometimes.
Yeah.
So they seek things that are going to piss them off. But yeah, being like being a creative is really difficult, especially when
Mhm.
you're an independent creative. I'm having a really bad day today. My
Yeah.
Instagram story is someone should check me in for how like depressed my Instagram story is today because I'm so burnt out because
Yeah.
I work in a brewery. So I'm always
Hmm.
on my feet. I'm always communicative and I don't like being around people
Yeah.
24/7, but when I'm there I have to always be on. And then I'm exhausted and I'm helping my dad out cuz he just had surgery things.
Yeah.
And then you get burnt out from that, but then you're like, "Oh, I have to create. My podcast comes out today. it got today, for the episode that came out today, which is ironically about publishing. And I
Hmm.
sought out an indie publisher to help the indie author community explore
Yeah.
things like prices of books and things like that. That got one of the lowest starts that my podcast episodes have gotten in a while. I haven't sold any books like online for the indie author bookstore, and I've been really like, when I wasn't caring, I wasn't putting like my full foot forward.
Hmm.
I don't really care, but like now that I'm like actively really working on this really hard, it's kind of like frustrating. I forget that last week one of my regulars read my book and thought it was amazing. It was like, this should be a movie. Why doesn't it get more attention? And that actually, I've learned, makes me feel worse.
Yeah. Well, because we're trapped by a system in a way.
It's
Because it has less to do with your book and more to do with the way the system controls how we get the book out there.
yeah,
I think, you know,
and
in a
that's
way.
and that's hard. I don't like to bring race into everything
Oh.
because I really want my book to stand on its own.
Hmm.
Like that's really important to me. It isn't important that I am among a small group of African American women who write in like dystopian sci-fi.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Um and like it's not what people would expect from me as an African American female. Like people would expect for me to write usually, urban romance or urban books.
Yeah.
It's never been who I am. I've always been a sci-fi nerd. Like we talked about this
Yeah.
in the Pages Against the Patriarch thing. Like the sci-fi was my favorite one, you know? Um, but like just having like that lack of community. She was talking about like community is one of the pillars that when she gets authors in that she says that they need to build. And like that's so hard because your community is built on people's perception of you,
Hmm. Yeah.
and the way that people perceive you is going to be the way that people support or don't support you.
It's so hard. That's why
It's
I personally want to shift it. Like, if you could reinvent vision, like make a world that is truly supportive of independent creativity and stuff, what would it look like to you?
I think I want competition not to exist.
Hmm.
And I really, this is going to sound crazy. I really wish looks didn't matter.
Oh, amen, sister.
Right? Like, and on both scales,
Yeah.
because guys, I just want to be clear. I do not think that I'm the hottest thing in the game. I realize objectively I am attractive, right? It's this isn't me blowing smoke. I don't know how to say it without sounding like an asshole,
No, and you
right?
acknowledge that you fit some norm of beauty. How is
Right,
how that
like I'm saying objectively, right? Like
objectively? Yes,
everybody has
that's
their
fair.
subjective opinions.
Yeah.
And the hard part is based on how people view your attractiveness level or not attractiveness level, they will treat you a certain way. And
Hmm.
that shifts, right? If someone thinks you're too pretty, believe it or not, they will not support you.
Oh, definitely,
They
definitely.
will not support you. And the same thing, if people think you're not attractive enough, they will not support you. You got to follow in the sweet spot, which society
Hmm.
says is acceptable.
Hmm. I mean, I understand this on many levels because I have some privilege because of I'm white,
Mm.
but that's a whole other.
A
I'm
whole
not
other
excluding it. That's
game.
a whole, like, that
Yeah.
could take us down many pathways. But I'm also 58 years old.
Mhm.
I'm an older woman. I'm heavy. There's no way I'm going to lose this way. I mean, you know what I mean? There's all of
Mhm.
these things. And it's just very strange that the best way to market, I mean, I'm not completely a newbie author, but but when it comes to doing the work that I want, the independent kind of books and fiction and stuff, I'm a novice. And yet it's I don't have the same understanding of how social media works, you know what I mean, or Instagram. I mean, I'm throwing spaghetti at the walls every day and see what sticks.
Yeah.
And that's fine. But I noticed like I made the mistake of paying to get some attention. And then as soon as I couldn't afford to pay for that anymore, my followers dropped by like, I think was like at 360, which isn't a lot. I know that. But they dropped down to 300. I lost 60 followers in like 3 days.
Mm.
There are those really kick-ass Gen X's. I mean, I'm Gen X that claim the stage and everything, and I'm not like that. And so it's really, really, it's hard. When it doesn't come together.
Yeah.
So how do we
I
defeat that?
I think like one having these conversations and realizing like
Yeah,
in this world. So I'm gonna get on my high horse for a second and then I'm gonna
go for it,
connect it here.
please.
In this creative world, what I don't like the most is that we are creatives, which means that all of our brains think differently, but
Hmm.
we want all of our brains to think the same. And if our brains don't think the same, then we automatically denounce this person, right? Like if it's
Hmm.
a group think kind of thing right now.
Oh yeah,
And
definitely.
there's fluctuations in group things in different kind of groups. But like AI, for example,
Oh god.
is one of the most divisive conversations in the creative world without anybody just kind of being in the middle and be like, there's benefits, there's ways that it can help, there's ways that it can harm, but
Yeah.
you can't say that because someone's like, either you're for it and you're on this like weird, crazy, like AI scale, or you're against it and you're on this weird, crazy anti AI scale, and you like the middle just, and this is society at large,
Oh
right?
definitely.
The middle just doesn't exist anymore because we don't allow people to form their own opinions and have that be okay.
Not
Like
a high
we
horse. I'm 100% with you. With
it's
you on
like
that.
I've talked about this before, even like the conversation about Harry Potter, right?
Hmm.
I love Harry Potter down. Do I like JK Rowling? No. Do I see where she had made points originally back a decade ago when all this kind of started? Yeah, I do. And I know women who struggle with what she was originally talking about. It's like, what does it mean to be a woman in this world? Is feminism now gone
Yeah.
because of this new, like, those are conversations that we do actually need to have with the
Hmm.
trans community
Hmm.
so that we can both see, but we can't do it because it's anti-war and then you create these things. But then people are like, oh, if you read Harry Potter, I'm never touching you again. And I'm like, Harry Potter was the book that got me into like really thick reading.
Really
I read it when
reading.
I was in the third fucking grade. That is a like I need you to understand that that is one of the single most impactful book in my entire life.
I get it.
I'm not giving it up. But also it's crazy to me. Like again, two things can be true. It's crazy to me that we're so mad at JK Rowling. We're madder at JK Rowling than we're mad at the president. Then we're mad at
Because patriarchy
abusers.
and misogyny rule over everything else. And you,
We
we could go
care.
down.
We care. We have boycotted, made billboards against, and done everything against this woman who is not, I don't want to say she's not a good woman. I think that she got caught in a cycle and just double down and double down and double
Yeah, I
down.
mean, I'm not, she was not a horrible woman, but her choice
She's,
is now to fund a not good choice. It's
yes.
like what happens to a lot of people when they all of a sudden become wealthy. She went from poverty to wealth because of Harry Potter, and she let
Mm-hmm.
it go to her head, thinking, "Oh well, now and that to me makes her she'd never be my friend, and that's fine, and she can come after me. Yeah,
But
there's
you know,
nothing to get from me, but
I think that JK Rowling is just like a perfect example of like not having emotional support,
right. Yeah, that makes sense. Mhm.
and also a perfect example of not finding people that accept the middle, right?
Right.
I do believe that
Absolutely.
we, as much as we as society don't want to admit, we make the monsters that we have, and that even goes into like parasocial relationships,
Hmm.
right? But I think that like because we have parasocial relationships and we think that these authors are like gods, and that I think that is why we're so devastated by J.K. Rowling. Because, like,
Right.
to be real, if we didn't give her the platform to speak, she would shut the fuck up.
Right. Well, I mean, I remember when I first read Harry Potter, and remember I'm reading it. I was reading it at an older age, but I
Hmm.
mean, I loved it too. I loved, and I actually hated when the movies first came out. I was like, no, people would this will get people to read. Why are you
Yeah,
destroying it by it? But that's a whole other issue
you're
too.
ruining my experience.
Yeah, yeah. But I did know, like, the more I read it, I started noticing, there's anti-Semitism in there. There are definite calls to racism, and it's there if you look for it.
And see,
But
but that's my thing though. Like,
yeah,
is it there because you look for it, or is it there because people have started? I think it's a little bit
yeah.
of both, right? Like, me
Yeah,
and my
I do think it
coworkers,
is. I don't think it also comes from perspective because I am Jewish. I was raised Jewish. So, like, I
right?
do remember the first time I was reading the description of the goblins and they're in the bank and all of that. And
Hmm.
there's a very specific statement about their nose and stuff. And that's a trope that has been used throughout the years about Jews. So,
Hmm.
I
See,
may be
I didn't know
sensitized.
that.
Yeah, I may be
Yeah.
sensitized to that, but I don't think I mean, the stories still hold a value for me, and I still will read it occasionally. But one of my favorite YouTube follows is Jammy Dodger, and he
Hmm.
is a trans man who talks about trans issues,
Hmm.
and the way he looks at it is from his perspective is that he loved Harry Potter, and
Hmm.
he has no problem with people still loving Harry Potter. What he has a problem with is people still paying for new Harry Potter things because that money is going directly. So, like, if you have the books, keep the books. If you have the movies,
Yeah.
keep the movies. But he's saying since she's declared that all her income, or a percentage of her income from Harry Potter, is now funding anti-trans campaigns. That's where the issue is for him.
I
Because
agree. That's so hard. Like,
yeah,
full disclosure, I just bought a Harry Potter mug.
I'll forgive you. It's okay. It's still
Okay, but like,
nostalgia. I get it. I totally get
so
it.
I also didn't know, right? Like,
Yeah.
I'm not I'm not buying it because I am anti-trans. I'm buying it because I'm a fan fucking girl, not of
Uh-huh.
J.K. Rowling,
Of the
but of
books
Harry Potter.
themselves.
Because
Yeah.
like, as an African American, those books made me feel seen.
Yes, because they are actually, I mean, it was still kind of sideline characters, but they were actually black characters.
No,
Hallelujah.
there were black characters, but if you don't like,
Yeah.
a lot of people pay attention to like the negative messages, and I didn't know
Yeah.
anything about the anti-Semitism. I think
Yeah.
that's the first your example is the first example that I could be like, oh, because a lot of people's examples are just goblin lore, and I've actually learned that goblin lore is rooted in anti-Semitism.
Yeah, because I mean, because I've studied a lot of it. I mean, there's cartoons and stuff during some really anti-Semitic times. There's pictures that they're drawn so that Jews look like goblins. I mean, they just
Right.
do. So it makes sense in that way.
And
But
so
I'm
like,
not saying I picked it up right away. I think that was after a couple of readings that I started going, hey,
right.
that's a little disturbing now. you
But like,
know.
first of all, people talk about like some of the names that she named her
Mhm,
characters, and I've never seen a problem with that because she wrote a children's book, and
mhm,
she, what I think accurately, did not, for the most part, with her characters,
mhm.
didn't try to like give them like a race and gender. She didn't describe like this person has super dark black skin. You know what I mean? Like, she
Yeah,
used the names, and this is
yeah,
something that's been said. She used the names to define the ethnicity so that children could immediately pick up on it, because
hmm.
like, to be clear, guys, again, Harry Potter was
Was a
originally a
children's
children's
book.
book.
Yeah, yeah, I get it.
And so like, I've never seen a problem with the name, but I respect people who do. But like,
Oh, of course.
the theme in Harry Potter is really related to racism, the
Yes.
overarching theme. I hate I hate the battle that the LGBT community has against race, and how like sometimes it's here, and it feels like unfair that like
Yeah.
that people can call me names and it's okay, but if I call someone a name out of LGBT community, it's completely different, and racist people aren't held to the same standard. There's a discrepancy in it that I wish that, which is why I wish, again, the middle ground. I wish that all of us
Yeah.
as creatives could come together and have these really hard conversations without like being like witch, she's a witch kind of thing.
Yeah.
um Harry Potter is really like like X-Men. And X-Men was one of the my favorite Marvels to this day. Harry Potter is really
Hmm.
rooted in combating racism.
Yeah.
The whole story, like if you and it's not even like deep symbolism, it's pretty shallow symbolism.
Oh no, it's there. Yeah,
It's
you're right. It's
pretty
yeah.
shallow symbolism about, the
Purity
mud
of
blood.
blood purity and
Yeah,
things like that. Yeah.
that combats the idea of racism, and that like being not pure of blood, which is something that they would talk about black people and minorities, was deemed not good. And even like Hermione Granger, and a lot of people have said that Hermione Granger is black coded, including J.K. Rowling herself a little
Yeah.
bit has defended her, which
She is. She was because of the way the description her
yeah,
description is very much
she's
like that.
she said that she never gave her color of her skin or anything like that on
Yeah.
purpose. And a lot of African American women who are high achievers have noted that she feels black coded or minority coded because she would be a mudblood, which would be
Right.
basically like full black, right? And the way that I'm perceiving it, and
Hmm.
she is smarter,
Hmm.
better,
Hmm.
more skilled than almost everybody around her, but
Hmm.
she still constantly has to prove herself.
Harder and yeah, like yes. No,
And
I
there's
definitely I kind of chuckled. I'm not going to watch the new Harry Potter series for the same reason, for the like not trying to put money in her pocket, but
Mhm.
I was like, yay, because isn't she black in that? She's black and
she's
she should be
she is multiracial. I think she's like
multiracial, but
black
she's at least
Hispanic.
brown skinned, and I
Yeah.
support that because she should be. And I mean, there because there is so much in there. I think I'm like you, is like that middle ground. You said something about wishing creatives could meet in the middle ground and have these hard conversations, because I have struggled with um, the fact that there is no middle ground. There's no way right now. I mean, it exists. We just have to force through
Hmm.
it to talk about these issues. I'm very anti-racist and stuff, but I still make mistakes. I'm the first person to admit it when I fuck up,
Hmm.
and I usually
I do too.
apologize. You know, um, but like in our times, like it's even hard for me. I came out and said I'm Jewish now, but I'm not. I'm culturally Jewish right now. I'm not religiously Jewish. I used to be,
Hmm.
but it's hard to even say that now because of everything else that's going on in the world, because someone will assume that that means I'm supporting
Not
what's going on, and I
right.
don't. I support everyone to be who they are, what regardless of race, skin, gender,
Hmm.
whatever, but that is not acceptable in a world that insists on dividing us. And I think we're being divided. I don't think it's, I think there's more people like us out there who are like,
Hmm.
whoa, 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 let's have these conversations and figure out a new way. But social media and algorithms and all of that pushes, like you say, one thing that might be seen as, oh, they're on this side of the spectrum, and that's all you ever see, or the extreme other side. It's so complicated.
It's so, and it makes it hard because creatives are almost bred to free think,
Yeah,
and
and
we're
that's why we're
not.
scary.
Yeah, but and because creatives can accurately show complex emotions on and the middle ground through their writing, through their art,
Hmm.
through their paintings, through their videography, their music, whatever. And we're being asked to pick a side. And creatives have, I mean, like we've been very well known as like liberal free thinking
Free
people
thinking,
in
yeah.
general. And that's not encouraged anymore. And it's not even like, you and I can disagree on some things about Harry Potter, and it's totally
Oh
okay.
yeah, I'm not. I mean, yeah.
But people are like, no, you have to think this way. And that's so hard
That's what's
too.
breaking us. That's
It
what's breaking
is. And
us.
I think that's what's breaking us as like as a community,
Hmm.
and not allowing us to support each other because we're not even allowed to show up as we are anymore. We have to think about how people are going to perceive us. If I full context, I would love to have sit down and have a conversation as a queer woman with
Mm-hmm.
someone who is a trans woman,
Oh
and
yes.
have a real conversation, like a
Right.
real conversation about womanhood, because neither of us are getting it right. And it's somewhere in
Yeah.
the middle. You know what I mean?
You might push back on this, but because womanhood has up till this point been defined by men, it's been defined by the patriarchy.
Mm-hmm.
It's been defined by, they try and define it by biology, but it's not quite that. They try and define it by your ability to have children, but it's not that because there are so many who can't. It's
I can't
defined by
have
what
kids.
men, right? I mean, it's defined by what men want women to be.
I don't disagree with you at all. I think that the miscommunication in all of it is that woman is a lived experience.
Yes. And it's an individual lived experience. There's commonalities that we can talk about that are not talked about. Our physical experience of existing in this world, you
Mm-hmm.
know?
I mean,
But
even our physical experience existing as like creative, being a woman creative is fucking
oh God, it's exhausting. There's a
weird.
reason
Like
I where I'm at.
nobody, like, for we were talking in the beginning of this, like, about like too pretty or not pretty enough. Nobody says that about a male
Right. No,
author.
nobody needs to know. Like a male author, they question as much like, is this from your life? For some reason, like you write an essay or something like that, they're not going to automatically assume that that's coming from life, and it might be coming from someone else's story. You know what I mean? It could be coming from the stories that we've learned in our lives, but it doesn't necessarily mean that it's like a memoir. That it's exploring what it means to be women, to be
Yeah.
a woman in a world where violence is accepted and approved of. That's what it is. you know,
Yeah.
but
I wish that us as a female community to come, I'm just going to call out the act of
mhm,
women in the creative community don't support often other women in the creative community,
mhm.
and unless they're their like bestie, right? If they're their
Yeah.
bestie, then no, if you get an in, right?
Mhm.
I can't tell you how many indie author books that I've supported. Like, not even in my store, right? I've even expanded my store to ship on demand because I can't buy all the indie author books that I wanted to sell in the store because I'm not reaching the numbers yet. And
Yeah.
which is crazy, because if indie authors promoted the bookstore more, then I could buy more indie author books and it would get more seen, and that means that more indie authors would get, like, including themselves. I can't tell you how many indie authors that I spend time supporting don't support me. And that's not me, like, I'm not meaning it as a like F you kind of thing. I mean it as a like, let's really examine this here. If, like, e- as much as we don't want things to be, energy is transactional, right? Like, the energy
Mhm.
that is given has to be returned, or it ends up creating a void.
Yeah.
And when you create that void, what you actually end up doing is losing that person that's trying to support you, or losing that support system, because what is giving energy to you is not getting energy back, and then they can no longer sustain without energy.
Mhm.
If we, like, we really have to examine this. If we're like, fuck Amazon, which,
We need to be. We need
let me
we
get
need to
I
be.
mean, I can't
This
give up
remember,
Amazon.
this is rebellious creativity. We are speaking truth. We are taking power
Yeah.
back, and we are claiming that you guys are screwing us, and I'm sick of it.
Yeah. I can't give up Amazon fully. I
No, I
haven't,
can't either. I'm not.
but
Yeah, but
I do make a conscious, I still have like Kindle Unlimited because that supports
me too.
everybody, and I
Yeah.
have Audible because I actually, the subscription is the way that I can get audiobooks,
Yeah.
but I do not buy my books 9 times out of 10 unless I cannot find it in an indie bookstore.
Right.
I've actively do not buy my books from Amazon,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
Unless I'm buying, again, a Kindle book,
Yeah. And I'm
because,
the same. I'm totally the same.
but
Yeah.
like, my books come, oh, I'm going to be honest, or I'm really struggle busting that week and I really want the book, like, I'm going to be honest, but no, we say that we don't want to, we don't want to support Amazon, but then what we do instead is support, and I don't mean this in a mean way, Amazon like structures of
Mhm.
independent production. So,
Right.
like, we'll support the biggest indie bookstore that's
Yeah.
already getting all the
Yeah.
praise and the notoriety and everything like that, but we still forget that indie is a scale,
Yeah.
and we want us to shop small, but we're shopping big small and forgetting about small small.
I'm encouraging people now that if you want to support an indie author, find out where their books, like what, like I have a books by store. It
Mm-hmm.
only has two of my books in there, but I'd rather sell it through that because I get a little bit more, and you can order it from anywhere in the world without having to jump through hoops. But
Mm-hmm.
it's I've only sold two copies of two books there so far. You know, and it's just it's like
But
okay, you know.
you're right, like find where, and that's why, I've spoke recently that I felt like the indie author bookstore and what it is to be known. This is one of the reasons why I feel like it's part advocacy,
Yeah.
because like that's what I'm doing. I'm giving you and it's a curated place, right? Like for the most part, I do like, especially the physical books. I read them. I read them
Great.
because not all indie author books are created equally, and I understand that, right? Like
Hmm.
the same way someone could come out with a song, it's the same way that anybody can come out with a book. And so like I kind of weed out those who publish their first draft, for instance.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um and that doesn't mean that their book is bad. It just means
It
that
just
they're
needed another draft, and
it
you
just
need to
needs
put
it
yeah.
just needed to be reworked or whatever.
Yeah.
Um I'm currently trying to proposition my job to let me do regular pop-ups there. And so it said
Cool.
pop-up, and so I thought it was about me,
Your
and it was
pop-up.
not in fact about me.
I went to a pop-up that my favorite indie bookstore down the road from me did at
Mhm.
a woman-owned brewery. It was
Mhm.
so good. I mean, I don't know how much she sold then, but just having all of these women, it wasn't just books. There were all these women-owned businesses there,
Mhm.
and
Mhm.
it was so good. So I hope you get to do that.
But I mean, like I do other pop-ups, but like even that, like
Yeah.
we're not, as a community, we're not going to, markets. And again, that's why I've
Mhm.
created the bookstore. So you don't have to search all these areas, because that, like, for instance, independent bookstores do not put indie books in their store unless they're from what they consider a reputable independent publisher. Like that,
Yeah.
let's get real about that too, right? And I didn't
Mhm.
know that. I thought when became an author, like, oh, I'm gonna apply to be in an indie bookstore and they'll take my book, like without. And so many people still talk about to this day, and like they suggest these places, and I'm like, I really wish I could get into this independent bookstore, but they won't accept me.
Mhm.
And that has nothing to do with the quality of my book. That's just
No, it's just the
numbers,
system.
visibility, the system, right?
Yeah.
So that's why I created this. So you don't have to, because one of the reasons why they don't is because they don't want to have to chase down all these authors to get copies of their books sometimes. You don't have to do it. I'm doing it.
Yeah.
I don't care. I have relationships with almost all of the authors in the fit that have physical
That's
copies.
great.
We're in a group chat, right?
Yeah.
And relationships, I mean, like we can just communicate.
Yeah.
And I offer for any of the authors that are in my store to be in this group chat, right?
Mhm.
I have to do some catch up because I'm human and
Yeah.
I haven't sent it, but like I offer that so that they're all in this. It doesn't really happen a lot, but I'll share, news or updates or whatever. Or if somebody has said something to me about someone's book, I'll immediately like plug them in and be like, hey, or one of the books at Thandra, I sold out of it. And I messaged the author like, "Hey, just sold out of your like little things."
That's I mean, as an author myself, if I got that message from you, I'd be like, cool, you want me to send
Over
you
the
some more?
and I was like, "Absolutely, yeah." Like I do the work for you, and people still don't connect, right?
It
And
yeah.
it blows my mind. You wanted a space. I created the space, but you don't want to use, and that goes just to indie authors
I
as well.
yeah,
Indie authors don't support the space either.
right. I think it all comes down to this theory that there's not enough to go around. I mean, that's part of the
Yes.
reason I'm Rebellious Creativity exists. We both have communities. Mine, and I want you to come onto my community as well.
And vice versa.
Because
Yeah.
yeah, because the more we help each other, like if I help you get more authors into your bookstore, then I'm helping other authors, and I don't care, I mean, yeah, I have a book someday, I hope you have it in the store, but it's not
Oh,
about
it's on my
that. I'm
list. Don't
not.
worry.
What? It's on. Oh no, I know,
It's
but
on my
it's not
list.
like I'm not. That's not what I'm about.
Yeah.
I don't care because I've had. I keep saying, if all the people who have reached out to me to say, I want to support your book, I want to feature your book, if all of them actually just bought the book and read the book and reviewed the book, I'd have a bestseller in my hand.
No, it's all, it's insane. Or like so many people, again, we we want to buy into the image of supporting, but we
Yeah,
don't want
but
to
we
do
don't
the
want to do
work. We don't want to do the
it.
work to support. So there's
Right.
people who've bought my book who just won't read it. And they were
Yeah.
like, "Oh, I'll get to it. It's on my list, but I have all these trad published books."
Yeah. And well, I promise I haven't gotten your books yet, just because I'm so strapped right now that I haven't been able to add to any books, but
Yeah,
it's going to be read. And it's not trad pubs. Yeah, I read my trad pubs too,
I
but
do
I
too.
actually enjoy, like, I enjoy a lot of the independent stuff so much more
So
because they're so
much
much more creative, less predictable, more not following tropes and all of that, which is part of, for me, like why even these conversations matter so much, because people like us need to say, hey, we're here to help, we're here to promote you, but there's got to be an exchange in promotion, and I don't mean
yes.
a financial exchange, I mean
Energy.
energy, an energetic exchange, or if I promote your book, could you maybe mention mine to a friend? Even as
I've
something as simple as that.
I've suggested, like, I've had a book club read one of, because I'm in a book club, right?
Yeah,
Read one of the books in the store.
yeah.
Because I've been like, they were like, they know I have the store, and they're like, which one would you suggest? And I was like, oh, really think you would like this one, and they did.
Hmm.
And like, I throw in trad published books as well as indie author books into the mix when I suggest books because
That's
I love
great.
them. I love them both.
Yeah.
And there are people, for instance, I don't know if you were in a panel with Hypatia.
Yes, it was. Yeah, yeah,
She does like indie author reviews, and I
yeah,
messaged her and we had her on the podcast, and I was like, oh my gosh, one day I hope that I can get one of these reviews from you. And she's like, oh, don't
yeah,
worry, you're on my list. And I was like, I appreciate it so much. But
yeah.
like, you're right, the community, there used to be a collaboration
Right.
that the creative community had. And I think that this is when we started making our creativity our businesses more, that we've
Hmm.
lost, because
Yes,
now we're all worried about like, I have to compete with this indie author for the attention, for the money, and for all of these things. And we don't even do that consciously. We're doing it subconsciously.
because numbers, money, clicks, likes, all of those have become our way of identifying success, as opposed to, like, I always say, if I've reached one reader and touched them in any way, my book's a success. It's a
Yeah.
success, because I don't care about those numbers. But even I, like, in the past few months, have been following down. Oh, I don't have enough followers. I'm never going to get it. And I'm like, that's part of the reason I decided to start doing this, is like, I'm done. I'm done with that. I want to help people. I want to, like you were saying before, how it's hard to find an editor who doesn't cost a fortune. Well, I want to people to come up and say, you know what, I've got these people who have editing skills. I have editing skills. I will work with you if you want.
Thank
And let's negotiate. Maybe it's not like nobody has enough to spend, because it can be, I think, the highest, well, like when I've calculated it the way they tell you to in the few books that I've worked on with people,
you. Mhm.
what I should be charging. But I'm like, you know what? You're a friend. I know I want to support this. I'm not out to get rich. Let's do what's reasonable for you.
Would developmental edit for free. Like, I just like, let's be
I
clear.
would too.
I
I
would
would.
developmental edit for the free. Like,
Yeah.
you're giving to me, again, energy exchange. You're giving me
Yeah.
a glimpse into your book and in your story, and you're trusting me, and then we can get to build it together. The AI conversation, what we're missing is that it's a tool that levels out the playing field for some
Yeah.
people. And like, if you don't, if you're against that, then the only way that you can truly fight that
Is
is to level it out yourself.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, like my developmental editor who just worked on the manuscript I'm working on right now,
Mm-hmm.
she was a former student of mine that we became very close. I
Mm-hmm.
know who she is. I know we worked together in theater. I was a teacher, but
Yeah.
so and I always offer him like, what can I pay you? What can I pay you? And she refuses to let me pay. I will pay her someday. Right. I promote her when I can. I've seen she because she's also training right now to become a professional editor. So as soon as she's finished with that,
But you know what? What you're
you know,
providing her with is an experience that she wouldn't have.
right.
This is the other thing. And when I talk about like the business, the thought that we need to make money from this and make money now from this is another reason why we're competitive and we don't want to, like, some of us don't want to do the work. Um, is that we don't realize that a lot of the beginning of it is exchange and not
Yeah.
necessarily financial, but like,
Right.
oh, I want to become an up and coming graphic designer. So I'll design your book cover for free. Can you
Mm,
just promote me
yeah.
and put me cover design
Yeah.
by? And you're like, absolutely. And then they get to use that in their portfolio.
Yeah.
You got a free cover so that your books, like, again, collaboration, meeting in the middle.
That's
That's something that we're really lacking in the creative community.
right.
And I don't mean this in a mean way, but that's also because I don't think that all authors right now in the creative community are creative. I went to a writer's retreat. I went to a writer's retreat, and that was the first moment where I realized that not all writers are creative writers.
Hmm.
Some are business writers. Some
Yeah.
are writing because writing is a business and they have a skill and they're leveraging their skill. Like,
Yes.
and that doesn't mean that they don't make fantastic fictional creative, books, but the way that they go about the process, it's, it's more of it, it's a business
Yeah.
versus how
Yeah.
other people go about the process and it's creative and it's, this is like my lifeline. Like, I sadly, I wrote on my story today, like, this is my purpose. And
You're gonna make me cry now because
no, like,
I'm like talking to a younger version of myself in many
it's
ways.
so hard because I'm like, this is my purpose and nobody is supporting my purpose. So, like, why the fuck am I here? This is my lifeline, right? Don't fit any
I
other
hear you.
boxes. I don't check anything off. Like, I
I hear
can't
you.
work a 9 to 5. I can barely work my brewery job right now. Like, this is it for me. And
Right.
like, that's so, and it's hard because your purpose is quantified right now by how many people buy your books and
Right.
by how many people
But
are
we can
supporting you.
change that. We can change
Yes.
that one conversation at a time, one collaboration at a time. My book that will never sell big
Hmm.
because it was very personal and kind of memoir like, but it's called Recreating the World: The Power and Joy of Collaborative Creativity. It's about
Hmm.
this. It's about that I believe that there's a reason creatives are the first people who are attacked when there's shifts into far right ideology. There's a reason that it's poo-pooed or seen as childish or like that we're supposed to stop creativity when we're children when like if you live a
When we
creative
get
life
into
as an
like
adult. Yeah.
pre-adolescence, we're supposed to.
Yeah. And there's a reason for that. There's a reason society does that, and it's because creativity is our superpower, and collaborative creativity is what's really super powerful. And that's my purpose now. That's my
Yeah.
message now, talking to people like you and just saying like it's not about competing. I don't want to take over your community and any more than I want you to, but our communities can work together to say, hey, look, we got something, let's keep growing. And that's what these conversations are about to me.
Yeah, like, why,
you know
and really, why can't our communities work together more? Like,
they can.
there was a conversation we had in the page against the patriarchy, and it was
Hmm.
originally about like non people of color writing and people of color voices,
Hmm. Yeah.
and me understanding why, like, I get it, right? But also being like, but you're still gatekeeping it from people of
Hmm.
color in a sense, because although you're including their voice or using that voice so that you have diversity in your book, you're still preventing diversity in real life because you're not allowing those people to be able to speak about that, use their voices for their experience. it's a conscious thing, right? Like you have
Yeah.
to consciously do this. As much as we want to say that we're diverse and we believe in diversity, we still tend to read, communicate in circles that look like us.
Yeah. And I think a lot of the newer authors, or a lot of the because it's so much easier to write nowadays. I'm not talking about AI, just it's easier
Yeah.
to create a
To get
book,
published and
to get
yeah.
published, that like there are so many who don't read, they don't even read their own, like
Hmm.
their own genre,
Writing.
but their
Hmm.
own writing, their own genre, their own anything, and yet they're writing stories and then trying to say, but I'm not, I have diversity in it. I know I make mistakes, but I feel very comfortable writing diverse characters because I've made it my mission to read diverse books. Sometimes they're just people in the story, and everyone's a person story kind of thing. But it's just, we it's because of the lack of community and the lack of collaboration that, like, it would be so easy.
I'm so weird on sensitivity readers, but like that's my own personal thing.
I'm weird
I'm
about them
so
too. I am, you
I'm a
know.
millennial, and so it's like I feel like sensitivity readers are a very Gen Z thing. That's just my opinion.
Yeah.
Um, I because like there's also this really big fear that we'll fuck up and we won't say the right thing or to do the right thing. And as I'm a human, I'm gonna make mistakes.
Yeah.
H.G. Carlton, she had anti-Semitism in her book, and someone
Hmm.
let her know, and she was just like, "Oh, okay," and changed it.
Yeah.
Like that. That's the part. Like, and so I think that sensitivity readers sometimes is like us kind of pushing off our duty to actually
Right.
learn more about.
Well, that's why I struggle with it too, because all my stories are really trying to challenge, like, to look
Hmm.
at those biases, to look at, so I include, like, I might include a negative reference to a different group because I'm challenging that reference, not because I'm like, look at how ridiculous this is in this moment in time, that this person is getting attacked for XYZ, whatever they're being attacked for. And there's always like let's smack the people down or say, you know what I mean? It's like
Yeah. I'm not saying that sensitivity readers aren't
yeah,
important, but instead of having a sensitivity reader, one, why aren't we reading in that genre more so that we could
yeah,
understand and like different things? Two, why aren't we having conversations? So
yeah.
like in my book, um I use different languages,
Hmm.
and and I misuse them. I'm probably misusing them, and some of it is on purpose because it's integral to the story. That they don't really know these languages, like
Yeah.
they're not fluent in it. They're using them just like offhand because of the world that I built. But I had conversations with like some of my friends. Oh, I had a friend who was Native American Indigenous, and I was like, "Hey, do you speak in this language? Because I want to use these terms, but I want to like that." Just having a conversation with a person, right? For instance, I in one of the books that I'm not currently writing but have written a significant amount, I had a character that I wanted to base off of like kind of Italian roots and fantasy.
Mm.
So I wanted him to have a pet name for her that was Italian. And so I
Hmm.
reached out to my friend who is Italian and who
And
speaks
asked,
Italian
what a
and asked,
concept.
like, hey, how what would you call princess? Is it like, I know princesa might not be the thing, is it
Yeah.
principesa? Like, like walk me through this really quickly. And that's where we're lacking, is that
Yeah.
we're still trying to find a way to like write these characters without really having a
Asking.
conversation.
Right.
And that or reading like, oh my gosh, I some of the authors are like, wow, we didn't really think about like reading in that, like it's a conscious decision to read different authors. I get it. We read what we're comfortable with. And if we started making the conscious decision, and this is crazy, but um book of the month is like a book shipping thing that I love.
Hmm.
And I really thought about it recently because that has helped me read so diversely,
Yeah.
simply because I get five, books to choose from.
That are just, yeah, yeah,
And I'm not choosing based on the author. Sometimes because the author is
yeah,
like a book I really want to read. I'm not choosing based off the author. I'm really choosing, and it's something that I want to do in the bookstore when I can, when I have enough funding to do
yeah.
something like that. But you're really choosing actually a little bit of the design, but you're really like reading the synopsis and reading what genre it is, and like, oh, this is a genre I like. And then only after are you like, oh, I'm reading a thriller written by an Indian woman.
Yeah.
Awesome. You know what I mean?
Yes, I choose books by covers. I do,
We
but
all
I
do.
choose it by cover. We'll open it up and just read a random passage because I
A
am
lot of people do that now,
I'm particular about writing, not from the grammar sense, but it has to
like the
pull me in.
prose.
Like I
Hmm.
have to like the prose. And I also read by mood. Like sometimes I'm in the
Hmm.
mood for something light, fluffy, and that I don't have to think through. And sometimes I'm in the mood for it. But I also like because I think that's part of my struggle in even connecting with the independent author community, because I've read so widely and had so many. I lived in Hawaii and I lived in Japan, and I'm married to a brown person. What I mean?
Yeah.
And that makes me want to learn more about the different cultures that I interact with, and I'm lucky in that, but it's really sad because I don't think everyone has that same. I don't know what it is about me that made me thrive in that, but
It's you're curious, I think, and
I'm
like that,
curious. It's
that's the
curious.
thing that more people need to have, even as creatives.
Right.
Like, again, creatives were rebellious, and we've like gone so far away from that. But
Yeah.
creation was an act of rebellion. Art was an act of rebellion. Writing, that's
It
why.
still is. It
That
should
Why do you
be.
think so many books are being banned, guys?
Right.
It's not because they're towing the line, it's because they were rebellious and they were writing about rebelling in society. um but
Which one
like,
of your books was banned?
I'm going to be a part of the banned book festival.
Oh, that's
Oh,
so
if
exciting.
someone, when my book gets its big up, it's getting banned. I already, I
My
mean,
all everything I write is going to be banned.
it's gonna get banned.
I'm 100. I'm like rooting for it. And one attempt of publishing was like, your next favorite banned book was what I
Yeah,
did. I like because I know it.
like I'm guys, let's just be honest here, right?
Yeah.
um but like, we've lost that. I listen to a lot of podcasts because, I have a podcast, so I have to listen to podcasts to understand the nature of. And Sophia Bush is a wonderful advocate of creativity and diversity.
Hmm. Hmm.
She was on One Tree Hill,
Yeah.
which is probably what she's most infamously known for, but she's been on a plethora of shows, right? She's a
Yeah.
fantastic actress.
Yeah.
Um, and it's so funny. Recently, she was at a film festival, and she was surrounded by like African Americans, and she was like, "If we're going to celebrate like Black art and try to create Black art, then we're going to have to actually support those people who are making it, right? Like, if we
Yeah.
want to replicate this, then we have to support it." But again, that she's like a rebellious, and people think rebellion is, I have spiked hair and I'm wearing black eyeliner, and it's an act of,
It's an act
um,
of choosing to be curious and to say, this is not the way it should be. I want to change that. That's what it is. It's as
yeah.
simple as that.
And
Yeah.
we have to always question, what are we doing to
Yeah.
change it? Like, if we notice that, in our sphere, if we notice that indie authors aren't getting enough credit, and some specific indie authors aren't getting enough credit, what are we doing to change that?
Yeah.
Are we, if we can't just say it, we have to really truly live it. And I think that that is where I have my biggest struggle right now,
Mm-hmm.
is I'm doing that
Mm-hmm.
and not seeing it being done for me.
Yeah.
And that's like, first of all, I want to be clear. I have a amazing, fantastic street team. I
Yeah.
shout out to my street team. And I hope, and my street team kind of knows that I'm like an emotional person. As I say, I am a highly medicated author. My Lexapro dosage is high as fuck. Let's just be clear.
I
And
knew you and I had something in common.
I'm I'm on Lexapro, I'm on Trazodone to sleep, I'm
Well,
on
I'm not on that many,
Buspar
but
for
yeah.
anxiety, and I just got clonazepam for panic attack. Like, I'm
Yeah.
highly medicated. I just
Yeah.
wanted to be clear. So like, my street team knows that, like, I'm a human. I'm a human with flaws, and I struggle, and there are days that I have struggles that is not against them. My street
Yeah.
team is fucking fantastic. My street team, for the record, is like 4 people, and I love the shit out of them, right? They're awesome. I share things with them, and the like the excitement I want to get from my friends and family that I don't normally get, I get from them, you know?
That's great.
And so I want to be clear, like when I say that, I'm not talking about them, but like it is really hard to do so much
Mm-hmm.
and not get it back, and you know, or the hope that, okay, this person's going to share my book and that's going to be the, you know, the thing. I've had a creator, I mean, I had her on my podcast, she's like a book talker, right?
Mm-hmm.
Has said that my book is 10 times better than Hunger Games. Straight quote. And you
And
would think that
yeah,
that
I
would be
can't
the
wait to read your
moment.
book now. I really can't. I mean, I'm not just saying that.
It no, like it, I mean it's
Yeah.
it's pure feministic rebellion. Like I
Yeah.
just
That's what power is too. So yeah.
yeah, like in,
Yeah.
and so like, and even still, that's not the thing, you know, like
Yeah.
those are the hard parts. And I think that one, we need to be more vulnerable and honest. Like I share so much and people are like, why do you do it? And I'm like, I do it because I will die. I don't mean to be like a typical creative and depressed or whatever, but I would just be like, no, I can't do this anymore. Like that's one of the reasons why even on my story today, I just had to get that emotion out. And I'm gonna go home and cry, right? But I needed the emotion out of my body. But like being more vulnerable about what that journey looks like. The hard part is that what people want to see from us on social media is us winning.
Mm-hmm.
So people will support you once you've won, but they
But
will
not
not
the
support you
journey.
on
Yeah.
the journey to it.
Okay. Well, I want you to look right at the camera. What do you need the most from other creatives out there, or what that would help you and also help the community?
My personal community doesn't understand the world that I'm in.
Mm-hmm.
So people may look at my life and probably be like, oh, she has it all together. Which is, if you look at my life and you think that, I don't know what the fuck you're watching. But, you know, people make their own perceptions based off of what they see and, you know, things.
Mm-hmm.
My, and I've lost a lot of people in my life recently.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and what I'm looking for the most is community and support.
Mm-hmm.
I'm building it like with the creatives, but even then, that's more of me, like me focusing on other people and try to build them up. But
Yeah.
like, I really need community and support. I really need people to like put
Yeah.
my books out there. And not only that, but like when I'm fucking feeling down, be like, you are so awesome and you're so amazing. Like one of my friends, she was posting about it on like social media, and I spammed her comment section like 7 messages of like, you're awesome. I need that too. And I may,
Mm-hmm.
you know, I may, because I'm jocular and I'm optimistic and I don't like to like wallow, I may seem like it's all okay, but like it really affects me every day. And one of the things that I want more than anything is a community. I think that like that's why I'm struggling so much with my TikTok being shadow banned right now, because
Mm-hmm.
that was my community, and now
Mm.
I've been like cut off because my videos aren't reaching them, and I've literally been cut off on from my community. But I would say to me, community, and community that sincerely helps, wants me to win, and actively does those things.
Mm-hmm.
I, you know, my two biggest love languages are um, quality time and acts of service.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I think that acts of service is something that I display as a person, as a way to show people that I care. And I would just love like a little bit of that back. You don't even have to be on
Mm-hmm.
my crazy, insane level with a podcast, a book, and a bookstore, and all this stuff. I would just, I just want the community, you know?
Yeah. Okay, so how do people find you? I will include all links and stuff, but what's the best way to reach
I have like a hub, which is my Instagram.
you? Mm-hmm.
But honestly, legitimately, you can Google Blake Gabrielle, and I'm probably one of the first people that come up now, which means
That's
that I'm
very
at
cool.
least doing something right.
You're definitely doing something right. I still
Cause like,
compete with a couple of
yeah, I mean, I still
people.
do. I, by the way, compete with the Gabrielle Blake, which is just so fucking funny to me. It's so hilarious to me. Whoever you are, Gabrielle, Blake, shout out. We're like we're neck and neck in this hoe. But you can look up Blake Gabrielle and you'll be able to get like all of it because I have my link tree on it and it shows the bookstore, it shows the podcast, it shows my own books. I put out newsletters. All of those things can kind of be seen
Mm-hmm.
in the Blake Gabrielle sphere. You also get like a look into my crazy, chaotic life. I also do content creation. I also do a day in my life, um, which I've been recording today, but then I forget to do because I get like so caught up in everything. Um, I really do try to invite people into the immersive
Mm-hmm.
experience that is my life and my advocacy and everything like that. And I would love for people to just catch on to the ride. So that's where you guys can find me and all of the journeys and the bumps and the chaoses and the depressy rants because we all need a depressy rant. I'm just
We all need
saying.
people to listen to the depressing rants and understand and not be like, it's gonna be okay, but more
Like,
like, I hear you, I
yeah,
understand you, I feel you. I
yeah.
I I am there. Well, we could keep talking forever, and I have a feeling this might end up being my first two podcast episodes, which is great. So, thank you for listening or watching. If you're interested in talking about your creative projects or brainstorming how we can change the world together creatively or starting collaborations, you can sign up to be a guest at rebelliouscreativity.com. Just click the podcast page. And Blake and I have a feeling we'll be collaborating in the future.
Yes, there's gonna be lots of collaborations.